recording. Okay. We're live.
All right. Well, we'll do a little... I don't know if it'll be an intro, but I always like starting the show with like a lot of energy.
A lot of energy.
And it's not a hey guys. Hey guys is basically the worst intro you could possibly do.
Hey guys.
Here's a good one. Welcome to the show, everyone. First, it's not gender specific, and it's weird because everybody in today's society that's hyper fucking sensitive have no problem with hey guys, and I'm kind of sick of it. I'm fucking sick of hearing it.
How about oh hey there, I didn't hear you listening.
No, that's weird.
That is weird.
You know what it is? That's a bit like Mr. Rogers and his weird intro. Go back and watch Mr. Rogers. It's a weird intro. I know he's trying to make you feel comfortable and shit.
Mr. Rogers is weird.
But he's a weird guy.
Dear Uncle.
He's a weird guy, all right? He walks into his house, he's singing his song, and first of all, he's got like molester clothing on.
Well, listen.
He's obviously just come back from the park, touched a few fucking kids.
No. That's Mr. McFeely. Come on. Special delivery.
I only mean that he wears the uniform of a molester. Then he walks in and he puts on different clothing that looked basically the same. You know? Like, okay, he goes from what looks like a casual outfit to a slightly more casual outfit.
Wait, you don't change your clothes into an identical outfit when you come in from the outside? The dirty outside?
Actually, no. That is a bit of an obsession among Asian people, though. They don't like to wear their outdoor clothes in their indoor environment. You know, if you sit on an Asian person's bed with your outside clothes, they will flip out.
Like, do you have to pay them to flip out, or?
No. What I mean by that, okay, a good example is my buddy Quay. I don't think that you could describe anyone as fastidious about his bed as this man, okay? You're not allowed to go anywhere near it, first of all, if you're not him or his wife, right? It's a sacred area for him. He will spend a significant amount of his life, and I get it, you know? Most people, I think, you out there, dear listeners, you don't know what the fuck you're doing when it comes to a bed. You don't know that you spend more than a third of your life.
He probably slept on a park bench or a bag of Cheetos or something.
Or just the really uncomfortable pieces of crap futon that people sleep on.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Just nasty. And I'm asking you, like, if you had to spend a third of your life somewhere, like, let's pretend you didn't sleep, but instead you had to go live somewhere during the period of time where you'd normally be asleep, would you live in the shittiest cottage, or would you try to get a nice place because you figure, hey, I got to treat me right? Well, the bed is the same thing. You have to invest in a nice bed or you're a fool.
I see what you're saying, but you'll fall asleep whether you like it or not. Your brain will shut down if you're too tired. So if you're telling me, like, I'm going to spend a third of my life somewhere where I'm basically unconscious and won't remember jack, do you really need to spend a lot of money on that bed?
For me, it's not even about...
If it's passable?
Not about remembering things or whatever. Because, you know, most of your life, you don't remember anyways, but you're not complaining about the fact that... Be like, well, I can't remember every single minute of my life, therefore none of it matters. No. What are you saying? What I'm saying is that try to think of this other you that exists in Dreamland, okay? And be thoughtful
that guy's
of this
not,
person.
He's not asleep.
You should be thoughtful.
He's running around. He's a fucking superstar.
Yeah. He's like a rock star one day. He's an astronaut the other day. He's basically living the life you want to lead. He's Mr. Dreamland.
Yeah. He doesn't care what bed his otherworldly body is flopped down on.
Maybe he does. Maybe he does, because I don't have any solid scientific evidence on this. All right? I'm zero. But I would venture to say that Dreamland Man who's on a nice mattress and Dreamland Man who's on a one that's not so nice are having a different experience, you know? We're talking the nitty-gritty. Maybe the one on the nicer bed, his astronaut ride is a lot more satisfying than... You know, rock pillow dude who's not having a great time.
Well, here's a question to the listeners. How much sleep did you get on Sunday night?
Yeah, because it's
you
now...
fucking maniac. Were you partying all night?
No.
Are you a Monday moron? Did you not get 8 hours of sleep before Monday? You're probably regretting it right now.
I wonder, actually, how many people who listen on a Monday to a podcast are the Sunday party people.
Sunday superstar, Monday moron.
And, you know, these are the people that probably start like at noon on a Sunday drinking and then just don't stop until 1 o'clock in the morning and realize, this is a school night, I better get my fucking ass to bed. And then now they woke up with, as they say in French, gueule de bois, the wood jaw.
The mouth of wood. Wood mandible.
Yeah, I
like
don't get that.
George Washington. He had one of those.
I don't get that wood mouth thing. Like,
doesn't sound good. It sounds a little bit like being hungover.
actually, when I'm hungover, I'm not really thinking about my mouth. That's not the primary thing. I'm thinking about the giant throbbing, pulsating headache that I
You got a bad case of sticky brain, don't you?
You got a bad case of sticky brain. Okay, so why don't we tell the nice folks who have been listening to us for 5 minutes who the fuck we are, so they can kind of understand, why are you listening to the show? Why the hell should you bother? You know?
You're stuck in traffic, it's Monday morning, and you feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
We're here to further make you feel like an idiot.
Let's just say the Sketchy podcasts are your kind of panacea for the bad decisions that you made with your life. And I don't mean bad decisions as in something that's really bad. I just mean bad as in you decided to just go and do what everybody else does, and now you're stuck with the mortgage, or you're stuck with, the car payments, and you're stuck with all these things, and now you got no choice.
You have that suboptimal feeling. And maybe that's because you didn't brush your teeth.
But you know what? Don't feel bad about it. I mean, do you think that a peasant in medieval times had much of a choice? Motherfucker's got to eat, right? So he's got to be out in the fields burning his fucking ass off just to plant a bunch of stinky carrots. They're probably going to give him gout or something.
Yeah, you're right. But I kind of feel like, this might be totally wrong, but the life of a peasant farmer afforded a few more opportunities just to chill the fuck out.
Well, I'm going to tell you some facts that are going to just depress you on a Monday morning. Fact number 1, the average medieval peasant had 80 days off a year. 80!
Like, were they sick during those 80 days, or they just didn't have to work?
They're medieval peasants. They're probably always sick with some parasite or some shit, right? There's no days off.
But 80 days was standard, not counting sick days.
Well, one, you can't work much of the year because it's winter. So, time off.
So what did the fiefdom king actually do with you during that time? Left you alone?
See, here's what you got to understand. In these times, probably what you think the arrangement was is, hi, I'm lord of this land and I own you slaves and you work for me. That is not the arrangement. You got to remember that feudalism is still a system of government that found its own balance. Not a great balance, but still a balance nevertheless, which is why they had so many fucking days off. Look, if you were a lord of the land, you had to promise 2 Christmas dinner parties for the people that worked. Because the deal was this. You have a piece of land. You're a knight. You don't know how to exploit this piece of land, which will eventually be your bread and butter. So you need laborers. And back during the medieval ages, it turns out that, you could negotiate your own labor power, right? As a knowledgeable farmer. So the negotiation was, I will trade you my ability or whatever, and you give me a little bit back of what I've produced.
Prima nocte.
And there were even, I don't know how well followed there were, because again, keep in mind that while we do have records, sometimes those records are not honest. But we do know that there were knights who had specific rules about how you had to treat even the peasants of other knights. It was almost kind of like an implicit agreement, because the truth is, if you had a knight that went around trying to fuck with your peasants because you're like, well, I'm gonna just chop his ability to produce, then it would kind of create a vicious cycle of all these peasants being killed, which had probably happened in the past. So there was a kind of agreement of, let's not do it. It's kind of like in World War II, everybody agreed not to use gas weapons because it was so fucking horrid and still in everybody's memory at the time. Well, it's kind of like that. So you're a peasant in the medieval times. You're able to negotiate your fucking rights. And if you don't like it, well, you know what? People would pick up their pitchforks and show up at the guy's house and be like, you better make some fucking changes or else we're going to change the government around here. And they did quite a bit. And that happened. They were a lot braver than you motherfuckers.
So it sounds a bit like feudal life resembled sort of a hippie commune during the off season, where people, played the flute. They had their little hobbies. They lived in relative peace in small communities.
I think there was a reason why...
It must have been all right.
Why the Middle Ages, even though we call them the Dark Ages, and we call them that because there wasn't a lot of great philosophy or science happening, but I think that part of the reason was that they had found a kind of peaceful existence that suited them, right? Okay, imagine the Roman Empire has just collapsed, and the worst thing about the Roman Empire collapsing is that its system of economy, which is to say that city-states used to become highly specialized in one thing like making wine or making rugs. Well, you can't fucking do that anymore because there's not the Pax Romana, and now your trade routes are fucking Roman with bandits. So everybody went back to trying to sustain themselves entirely in city-states. And this is why, again, progress goes to a standstill, because when you try to make everything yourself, right, it kind of sucks. You need specialization. That's how you get to more advanced stages in your civilization. So the Middle Ages are really more of a consequences of a lot of economic decisions that were based on fear and just basically poor management of like large zones that used to be handled by the Roman Empire.
And how much of that do we have in common today? Like large corporations being poorly managed, and like how different is life really on a Monday morning in 2016?
What's the difference between me and a fucking peasant? Well, while I do wake up maybe as early as he does, he's already got more sleep during the day. Because here's another fucked up fact about peasants. They didn't sleep the same cycle that you did. This whole fucking sleeping 7 or 8 hours in a row, this is new, by the way, idiot. Nobody else has ever fucking slept in that kind of cycle. People used to kind of wake up in the middle of the night, do a few things, and then go back to bed. No human being is supposed to try to sleep for that long in a row. Apparently it's no good. But have you ever gotten the sense that the society that you live in, we're doing everything wrong? Like, just let me give you a good example. Do you think that the way that people raise families in our society is really the best way that they could be raising it? That maybe once upon a time people didn't have a better, easier time raising them? Like, when the whole village used to raise them as opposed to just some fucking single mom with no resources and who was waiting on some fucking food stamps in order to feed her kids?
That seems like kind of a bummer. I guess the vaccines are pretty sweet now, but...
Oh, yeah. I don't want to go back and trade. It's not like saying, I'll trade you vaccines for easier to raise your children. No. I'm like, we can have both. That's the fucked up shit.
No, and, like, back then, I guess your PS4 would have been a goat or something. Your entertainment, your idea of fun would have been totally recalibrated. Your entertainment
was probably mostly board games. I mean, you look at the history of gaming in the world, and it's a very rich history. You got Go, you got chess, you got many games that we've lost from the Middle Ages. That if you've ever played the Assassin's Creed franchise, by the way, which I recommend you play their mini games, because they'll have historic versions of games. Like, did you ever play Othello? I don't know what it's called. It's like the one where you have like beads, and if you have like 2 beads of one color on the end, you have to all the beads from the enemy become yours.
Well, it sounds kind of like Go. It sounds like an enlarged version.
I guess so. I mean, there's lots of different variations of that particular type of game, but it was the Greek version of it. I don't know what that one was called.
Yeah.
But a lot of your time would be really taken up with games. I mean, people would have all kinds of activities. Did you never see like those like medieval festivals and stuff like that? You don't think they were doing that kind of shit like all the time? Little contests and stuff to entertain themselves. And remember, the biggest source of entertainment for a town used to be the church. I mean, I know that sounds boring to you now, but
woo!
Once upon a time, I bet you the pastors were probably way more entertaining. Probably better storytellers, because if you're going to make your living at it, you probably have to be pretty good. Just saying.
Just saying.
But I don't know. I get the feeling that we keep on trying to come up with technological solutions to problems where I think that we could just insert human here, right? Like, I bet you right now somebody's trying to figure out, man, it's tough for parents to raise their kid. Let's develop a computer that's going to be able to help manage the blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, there is such a thing, a computer. It's called another person, another human being. Like, I don't understand, Tom. We live in an age of maximum connectivity, and yet people are as more and more disconnected. I don't know I've ever seen a world as disconnected as today, where people are spending more time watching Netflix at home alone than they are reading books, spending time with friends, going out. That's crazy to me.
It's insane. People are just listening to a couple of weirdos driving to work instead of having a chat with their mate. Makes no sense.
Right, and this is the dilemma of why, if you don't know who I am, which is actually, if you're listening to the first show, you probably know who the fuck I am actually right now, because there's no other way you fell into this show by accident? The fuck you did.
Not bloody likely.
Not bloody likely. But in case that you go back in time and maybe you discover this, I don't know, a few years or something like that, and you want to see show number 1, hey, what was show number 1 about? Well, I'm going to tell you who the fuck I am. Okay.
Show number 1 was about jack shit.
I used to be a pretty serious podcaster back in the day. All right. I mean, I've recorded hundreds of podcasts on a variety of topics. I did mixed martial arts. I did atheism. And you know what? I mean, I enjoyed doing podcasting, but the truth is I stopped for, I don't know, 3 years maybe of like not regularly podcasting. And the thing that ruined it for me, honestly, was everybody else. It was just listening to everyone who's on the internet who's so desperate for attention.
Hey guys,
it's
click subscribe.
Hit subscribe.
Don't forget to hit subscribe. Leave a comment down below.
I want to tell you about my opinion so bad.
Hey guys.
It is every time I saw some new video of a person who just decided, I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to tell everybody about my opinions, it just made me want to not do it. Like, just, why am I bothering? They can just go and listen to some other fucking dickhead. And why am I going to poison the internet with just another uneducated opinion? Why should I do this? And, I have not had a good answer for this. And maybe I still don't. But I'll tell you one thing, okay? I'm sick and tired of not doing something. So, the truth is, why the fuck should you listen to me? You don't have to. At no time will
he just needs an hobby.
Yeah,
a little hobby,
a
pastime.
Yeah. And plus, I figure you poor sacks of shit who are driving on a Monday, just be looking for something to look forward to. I know what it is. You know what I look forward to on Monday when I have to go to my shit job? I look forward to my tea. I pay a lot of money for high quality, like British imported tea, because when I drink it, I want to feel fancy.
That empire knows their tea.
They know their tea. They didn't invent that shit. They just basically enslaved an entire country to have it.
They didn't have to invent it to enjoy it.
I mean, like, think about that. The Brits are all about commandeering things that are not their own and then just basically...
Whoa. Not modern Brits. They haven't done that in a while.
Hey, yes, they have.
Except for that...
their food is basically that.
That prime minister with his little...
Like, a good example is that in London, there are more curry houses per square block than in Bangalore, for God's sakes.
You know what? The curry in London is fantastic, and I would not reverse that part of history.
But it would be the same as saying that tea in London is fantastic.
It is fantastic.
Because here's the thing about the Brits. When they love something, what they're going to do... and what did the East India Company do when they found and discovered tea? They were the most brutal company that has ever existed. They had slaves that they would burn with their fucking logo on.
Really, really, really terrible. But on balance, you can't deny
that tea.
Damn, that tea's good.
But you see, I mean, even today, the tea that I drink, I have read online that there is slave labor associated with that. But the truth of the matter is that most of the products that you consume have slave labor. There are something like 27 million slaves now.
Did you hear about the Beyonce clothing line, the
No.
Empower Women line or something?
Oh, let me guess. It was made by women who were basically slave labor and being exploited. This is why I always laugh at this fucking. I'm gonna demonstrate my power as the woman by buying things. I'm like, the very nature of you buying things is what perpetuates the misery of women around the world.
No, well, okay, there's a difference between having the power to buy things and
buying that shit
and using, consumerism to make yourself feel better. Those are two different things. And I gotta say, it does cut across both sexes. There are guys who buy things to feel better too. And it's not empowering at all.
I'm saying the only difference is that there has not been one man who has ever bought something saying I'm liberating my gender by buying this.
No.
And I mean, like, I think that we all have as a society have to accept our hypocrisy. We're all hypocrites.
Yeah, and actually false hope is really easy to buy, relatively speaking, compared to real hope.
No, there is no. Here's the thing. All hope is false, okay? Do not hope. Do. Just do. Do not hope. Hope is like, I hope things will be better. Just make it better. Don't hope for it. Hope is basically what religious people do when they're like, I hope Jesus comes back. I sure hope Muhammad comes back and kills everyone. Like, this is what they hope. Hope is poison. Okay? I wouldn't say hope or faith. These are bad words. I have confidence in humanity to be able to pull shit off. Okay? That's different from hope. Hope is basically just, I'm going to sit back and hope things work out. That's literally what hope means for people.
Oh, yeah, as a substitute for action.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of what...
so I say
what's
no
wrong
hope.
with the world today.
No hope.
Yeah.
Forget hope.
No hope.
No hope and no faith. These are lies, okay? These are lies meant to trick you. Like, for instance, I bet you as you go to, drive to work, you say, I hope this day is going to be better. No hope. There is no hope.
And did you know there's no fate but what we make?
Yes, I do know that.
You did know that?
I did know that. Uh-huh. I sure did.
So what kind of tea do you drink? Is it English breakfast tea? Is it Colonial Standard?
I am Captain Picard lover.
Oh, Earl Grey.
Actually, there's two kinds.
Earl Grey.
I like Earl Grey, and then when I'm feeling really fruity,
Jasmine.
I get Lady Grey.
What is Lady Grey? I've never heard of that.
Lady Grey is Earl Grey with even more
floral notes,
rather than bergamot kind of hints.
Right.
It has
rose, and
it has more floral impact.
Wow.
Yeah. But for me, like when I'm drinking that tea, by the way, I put no sugar in it.
That's pretty dainty,
no
bro.
milk in it, so I don't drink it like a Brit. I drink it because I want the pure satisfaction, the olfactory sensation that comes with tea. Because if you drink tea for the flavor on your tongue, all you get is some fucking bitter shit, and you're drinking it wrong.
Yeah, you know what? I met this cool Chinese dude in France, and he told me that he prefers tea made very, very weak. He just prefers the hint of the flavor. And I tried a cup, and it was actually really good.
Well, it's interesting because whenever I drink tea, I'm always refilling my teacup. I have a giant teacup that I drink. And the interesting thing about tea is that as opposed to lots of other drinks, you really can't water it down. It's just a matter of how strong do you want your tea.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. It's not like coffee well, I mean, to some degree, I suppose the amount of wateriness may represent its kind of, is it Americana or is it a cappuccino, espresso, whatever. Yeah. But at the same time, though, you would never have like a buttload of water and a tiny bit of like that coffee flavor. That would be gross. That would be pretty gross. Fucking gross.
So my preferred routine these days is I'm not a huge breakfast guy, but I've gotten into the routine of eating a little bit of yogurt with some granola and a little espresso in the morning, and I find that's enough to, give me a little bit more energy. I used to eat no breakfast, and I like the espresso just because it's fast and it tastes pretty strong, wakes me up. I'll usually have one good coffee throughout the whole morning, and then I think starting last year, I just started drinking tea in the afternoon. Maybe that's the pleasure of living in the modern age. We can have our beverages from around the world and
not kill each other over. That's great.
That is one way that I live differently than a serf. I drink my coffee in the morning and I drink my tea in the afternoon.
Well, I would say the interesting thing about, because we were talking about what is the difference between a medieval peasant and you, and I would say here's the one of the major differences is that they would have much better teeth than you.
What?
And it turns out that part of the reason is because of the amount of roughage in their diet and how little sugar they were consuming. Yeah. Now remember, it's not sugar that causes cavities.
I would imagine their teeth would be very stained, but perhaps healthier.
It's not the sugar that ever causes cavities. People mistake that. It's plaque on your teeth that feeds the cavity.
And plaque, the bacteria,
But the problem is that most of the time, the food that you consume is pretty soft. So, one of the best natural toothbrushes is a fucking apple. Because when you bite into it, it will scratch off and tear off a lot of that plaque that you have. So it turns out that because
gnawing on a bone or something,
or shit like that. But it turns out that when you were just some dirt poor peasant having to eat nothing but fucking overcooked vegetables all day long, there's just not a lot of sugar or even starch in that shit. So you were skinny, you had fucking great teeth,
dental plan,
okay. Unless, of course, you were one of those unfortunate people that had one of those wisdom teeth that suddenly caused an infection, and then you were literally dead. I mean, one of the biggest causes of death in human beings throughout history is
poorly designed teeth.
Yeah. Fucking newsflash.
Unintelligently designed teeth.
Untold millions of fucking people. Your shitty teeth design. Ta-da!
How many famous characters from history just went tooth crazy?
Oh, I don't know.
Which explained their erratic behavior.
Who knows?
How many wars were fought or lost due to poor teeth?
Yeah, no. Who knows? And back in like Neanderthal days, where there were some like epic wars that you don't fucking know about because nobody knew how to write some shit down, but they sure knew how to crush a skull good.
Yeah, the Neanderthal War. Are there any movies or video games that focus on Neanderthal life?
I don't know if you would call Neanderthal, but there was an attempt to make an action movie set in the past called 10,000 BC. It was a giant piece of shit.
Well, 10,000 isn't that long ago.
It's not long enough. It's not long enough. You'd really have to make it 40,000 years ago. And, I don't know.
They were gentle giants.
Actually, you know what? Truthfully, if you were to ask me what movie should you make right now, if I was a screenwriter, I would propose that someone make the Clan of the Cave Bears movie. For a couple reasons. One is that the Clan of the Cave Bear series of novels, I don't know if you are aware of what this novel is.
Hell no.
Okay. So this was written in the 1970s, and this was written by a woman, and this was actually a very big deal. This was a feminist fucking book back in the day, bro. It was the story of a Cro-Magnon human living maybe 40,000 years ago or whatever. Her tribe is killed in an earthquake, and she becomes adopted by Neanderthals, who consider her ugly and so on and so forth. But she becomes a great hunter with a slingshot, which draws the jealousy of the top hunter guy who kind of rapes her with his big giant fucking Neanderthal smelly dick and shit. Anyway, and it goes into detail and that kind of stuff, you know? But it's entirely from the perspective of a female protagonist living in fucking, primitive times. That's a hell of a movie if you're able to pull that into a script, man. That's fucking Hunger Games BC, bitch.
It's not bad. Not bad.
Like, why has no one... And there's 3 books, and they're all massive. There's Clan of the Cave Bear, the Horse something. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank right now. But Clan of the Cave Bears, which is what I read this book. My mom owned it. And I loved it. It was an amazing book. And it taught a lot of things to a fucking 15-year-old boy who had to read about a rape scene from a Cro-Magnon man.
Oh, boy.
That was something else. Let me tell you what. But there was no trigger warning on that book.
Holy moly.
But it's a hell of a book, though. Hell of a book. So there are stories set in that shit, but are there movies? The only movie that I could tell you that also probably goes back that far is Quest for Fire, maybe? You ever see this movie? Quest for Fire?
Actually, it rings a bell. Is it a cartoon?
It won an Academy Award.
It's a cartoon.
There's no talking in this fucking movie.
Right. Yes.
It's a live action. It's got Ron Perlman before anybody knew who he was. And Chong's daughter. I forget what her name is. She's naked and you can see her beaver like throughout most of the fucking movie.
Jesus.
But the movie,
I guess that's how it was.
I do strongly recommend the movie if you can actually watch something where people don't talk, because there's one scene in the movie that will
sounds like a good movie to have on,
like a ton of bricks.
A good movie to have on in a party, like in the background.
What? No.
There's a bit of nudity. No. There's no sound anyway. You're not missing anything.
No, you got to pay attention. You got to know what's going on, man.
All right, fine.
Jesus Christ, man. Do you even know what the movie is about?
Backwards fire, right?
Yeah, it says it's Quest for Fire is in the title. Yeah. That's a really good guess there, B.
Yeah, no, it's about the life in the olden days.
Okay, you need to shut up. For those of you who do not know, Mr. B has absolutely no pop culture knowledge. It's embarrassing.
Are you saying this is part of pop culture? Because I highly doubt it.
Yes, it is. As I said, it won a fucking Academy Award, so if you don't know what it is, you're kind of ignorant. But that's okay. When it comes to pop culture, I definitely expect you to be ignorant about that shit. But There are plenty of people that talk about Quest for Fire, and I'll tell you a scene.
All right.
Let me tell you about a scene that's going to blow your mind, because you're not going to watch the movie anyways. Bunch of lazy pricks. So I'm gonna explain it to you.
Give us the Jake's notes.
I'll give you the best scene in the movie. So the movie begins where a bunch of Neanderthal characters are trying to escape because they've been kicked out of their cave by a stronger clan, and now they're roving the swamps, and it's just a miserable time, and they're carrying with them the hearth of the clan. So, it's the little bit of fire that they have, and unfortunately it goes out. But they're Neanderthals, and they don't know how to fucking do it. So 2 of the members are given a quest. The quest for fire. Go out and find fire.
Crap.
And that's what they have to do. And they meet a girl who's a human. She looks different because they have, like, giant brows. They're Cro-Magnons. I mean, they're Neanderthals, for God's sake. So they meet up with a human who they, kind of, like, rape, sex. This is early days, okay? Gray zone. Don't fucking judge it. Anyways, they have sex with her, and she teaches the missionary, which they knew nothing about. It's a significant moment in the movie, and I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's supposed to be more intimate, and how human beings are more intimate. Anyways, don't think about that now. So they go back to visit the human tribe, and here's the big moment. Okay, the main character goes over and he talks to one of the, well, not talks to their shaman, but the shaman shows him,
grunts at the shaman,
how to make fire, and he takes this stick and he rubs it together, and when the Neanderthal guy sees in a human being able to create a fire, something that their clan can't make, he starts to cry. And the moment is supposed to represent the kind of passing of the torch, if you want. What separated, at least in the filmmaker's view, the Neanderthals from the humans? Why did we succeed? And as far as they were concerned, it was our intelligence. It was our ability to do something like harness the power of fire. It may or may not be true or whatever, but it's a fucking awesome moment and quite a powerful one in film. And so, it's a good movie. You should check it out.
I think everyone's still thinking about that sex scene. You told us not to, but...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's even this weird sex scene where everybody's like, all these girls are going by the river because they kind of know that if they go by the river, they're going to get raped. So they kind of like drinking with their asses up because they kind of want it.
What?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What a controversy.
Not afraid to explore many of the...
I don't think that movie would get made today.
Fucking no way. But you know what? A lot of things wouldn't get made today. Do you think that Back to the Future, a story about an older scientist hanging out with a high school kid, would be made today?
Probably not.
That's kind of fucked up. Even when you're watching the movie, you're like, why are they friends?
You have Rick and Morty. Right.
That's
our version.
Why did he make Rick and Morty?
Yeah, well,
because
he went back in time.
No. Because the guy who created it, who made Community, has said, and I quote, Back to the Future is the greatest movie of all time.
Exactly.
So he's just basically remade it in a
he
cartoon.
Went Back to the Future and made a cartoon.
Yes. But you can't make that movie because the friendships that existed in the old days of movies does not make sense in today's kind of world where you're not allowed, if you're a young man, to be friends with a mad scientist because
stranger danger.
Obviously, he's going to put it up your butt.
Whoa.
That's obviously what he's going to do.
Maybe it's just science, okay? Maybe it's nothing more than a little innocent.
But you're watching Back to the Future, and
science.
I'm sure that the first question that came into your mind is why is Marty and Doc Brown friends? Which is actually answered in the movie itself, right?
Of course it is.
Because they're temporally linked, fool.
Yeah.
That's why they're friends.
They're entangled. Sometimes you're more entangled with your future than you are your past, you know? Someone once will have told me that. Hey-o.
One day.
One day. You once will have told me that.
So I'm sure you may have noticed this. But perhaps, you go on the internet and you read comments. And what you've noticed is that the comments have started to change in articles and stuff like that. And what's changed, at least this is what my observation has been, is that comments are now basically being generated by a smaller and smaller subset of people. And the subset of people are not just your average frustrated fucking human being. No, the subset of people are also individuals that are being paid by companies to fucking comment. So I want you to think about the fact that you might be being manipulated in a conversation with some stranger who just suddenly tells you if you've ever drank an Absolute vodka, and maybe you should because it's amazing. Should be wary of these fucking people, okay? These goddamn... And you know, it's only going to go worse. In the future, they're going to invent AI that's going to be spamming. Like, you're going to be reading comments of non-existing humans. It's going to be a nightmare. Going to be a nightmare. So, what do we do about this kind of future?
I say we let the bots have YouTube.
Nobody reads YouTube comments.
I know.
Really,
just let the bots go fucking
like,
crazy
actually,
on YouTube.
Why does anybody comment on YouTube? Why?
Keep a small private group on Facebook open to real humans, and let the rest of the internet, be ravaged by bots. It's gonna happen anyway. Might as well carve out our little niche right now.
Well, you know what? The thing that will kill Facebook will be bots and the digital graveyard. That's what's going to fucking kill a lot of digital projects. It's going to be the bulk of all of these digital ghosts that are just sticking around, man, dragging you down. Like, how many of you actually... here's the comment that I want you guys to leave. Tell me if you have ever fucking experienced this. I have on a few occasions, and it's pissed me off, where you will suddenly... You have a friend or somebody that you know, family member that you know, that died... And now some fucking asshole is posting shit on their Facebook page every few fucking weeks or whatever. Because they think that that's what people want. Like, let's remember Gary. Gary's dead. And I'm going to post something with Gary's face on it saying, hi, everyone, from the grave.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
Like, it should be...
There might be a tasteful way to do that. Like, let's all remember Gary on his birthday or something. But... yeah, there's probably an extreme. I guess you'd have no choice but to unfollow the afterlife. I
think that what you have to do as
it should just be one little setting in Facebook. Turn it off.
Or you know what it is? It's you know when you have that little submit because you get a bunch of fucking spam, like some fake girl account is like, oh hey, you're cute. Yeah, you're real.
How many friends in common? -5. No fucking way.
Yeah. So maybe in the world where it's like populated by these kinds of fake accounts, it's fine. But no, I don't want to live in that world anymore.
Let's just set up bot book. All the bots can make friends and they can tease each other and post. Shit about humans, giving them a hard time.
I think that most social networks will probably be entirely dominated by bots, and we're just reading what bots are saying because we're not even participating anymore.
Yeah, they're way smarter and more engaging than we ever could be.
Yeah. I think that most human beings, at least now, and this goes back to the whole comment section, I think we're all feeling less engaged now. Maybe it was a kind of unique little time where we felt we could express ourselves, but I think everybody agrees that now if you express yourself, you run into the danger of having to fucking apologize to the entire internet if you said something that people don't like.
Well, you know what? And actually there was a time, and those people who hail back to the very early days of the internet will remember there used to be an exciting thing about connecting to, say, an IRC channel, talking to a total stranger about some common theme that you both like, and just sort of making virtual buddies. Everyone was sort of generally interested. It was a good sort of vibe.
But do you know what the difference was about people back then and people on the internet now?
I mean, it's flipped completely.
No, but what was the big difference?
You don't want to make friends online.
What was the fucking big difference? One, hi, do you know what IRC is? And two, do you know how you had to fucking go to specific chat rooms?
Yeah.
There's a technological level that you had to achieve to do it. And to get that, I'm sorry to be a fucking elitist, you had to have a certain level of intelligence. But now I can have a fucking pad where I don't even need to know what to do. I can just talk to it, and it's going to bring me on the internet. And if I want to leave a stupid-ass comment, I can just actually do it by voice command.
Yeah.
So you're wondering why mouth breathers have fucking taken over the internet. It's too easy. We should have made it hard.
It's sort of like it was the secret lounge for everybody who beat a cool video game. Like, hey, you beat the video game too? Come on in, bro. What do you want to talk about?
This is what Internet 2 should be all about. Like, you have to fucking pass an IQ test, and if you don't, you can't connect, bitch.
Or at least some kind of, like, skill testing or knowledge assessment on the subject you want to talk about. You want to talk about cars? Here's a little quiz. You pass the quiz.
Talk about it. I mean, I miss the days where the internet was filled almost entirely with smart people or the really crazy ones who had sort of like figured out how to log into, like the Time Cube dude, who apparently just quit on us. Like, there's no more fucking Time Cube or whatever. Is it even up anymore? I heard rumors. If you don't know this, dude, by the way, I suggest you just read any article that you can find on it. I'm pretty sure this person's like some kind of schizophrenic, bipolar, fucking weirdo.
There's a guy on YouTube named Gene Ray. He's apparently the creator of Time Cube.
Oh yeah, but anyways,
who knows if it's true? But yeah,
he'll say things like, "You've been educated stupid your whole life." And
4 equal time days.
Yeah, he thinks that basically the Earth should be divided into 4 separate 24-hour days, as opposed to, I guess, the time zone thing that we've adopted.
There is no teacher on Earth qualified to teach nature's harmonic, simultaneous, 4-day rotating time cube creation principle, and therefore there is no teacher on Earth worthy of being called a certified teacher. Quotes like that for days and days and days.
And remember, the Earth is a sphere, but it is definitely a time cube. He's decided it, because here's the problem with a sphere. How many times can you divide a sphere up? Yeah, too many. Way too many.
There's another pretty good a related quote from one of the wikis. It's as the length of a web page grows linearly, the likelihood of the author being a lunatic increases exponentially. TimeCube was a very long website.
Oh my god!
It was incredible.
It was the mastery of front page. If you remember what that program was in the very early days of the internet.
If Earth stood still, it would have midday, midnight, sunup, and sundown as 4 corners. Each rotation of the Earth has 4 middays, 4 midnights, 4 sunups. Try to keep a straight face. And 4 sundowns. The 16 spaced... hold on, I can do this. The 16 is really hard. The 16 space-times demonstrates cube proof of 4 full days. Shut up! Stop laughing. 4 full days simultaneously on Earth with 1 rotation. The academia created 1 day Greenwich time is bastardly queer and dooms future youth to nature to a hell. Wow. And nature to a hell. Ignorance of a 4-day harmonic cube nature indicts humans as unfit to live on Earth. It's just incredible stuff.
What does indict mean?
It's, yeah. And I don't know if you remember, but TimeCube had the most glorious mix of fonts and colors.
Oh, yeah.
Italics and underlines.
It was written as though somebody had taken a magazine and written a hostage letter.
A ransom note.
But with text.
Drivel.
Yeah,
drivel.
with basically a text editor. It's quite amazing. I think actually, no, but to be truthful, I think that you could probably write a book about this, because TimeCube is not a regular site of insanity. It's so much more in there.
All right.
Give us more,
all right.
Mr. B.
Religious singularity is evil. Academic singularity is evil. Singularity is a damnable lie. Educators altered your mind. You cannot think opposite of what you are taught to think. You have a cyclop perspective and taught android mentality equals lobotomized analytical ability. Yes.
All right.
Fucking Sermon on the Mount. It's great.
It feels like a Ted Kaczynski level, Unabomber style kind of thing.
Who edits the TimeCube on Wikipedia? This is a question from TimeCube. Will I get a reply, or will the wisest human, capitalized, just be ignored until...
Which is him, by the way.
Until silenced by death.
He does believe that he is the wisest human, because he has decided that you need to divide the Earth up into 4 time zones.
16 time corners, right? Amazing.
So 4 time zones with...
Midday, midnight, sunup, sundown. Get with the fucking program.
Times 4.
Times 4.
So TimeCube is an internet treasure.
God.
That
amazing.
But it's still up then.
No. These are all the
so what
digital wasteland that keeps scraps
people have
of
kept it
TimeCube.
up.
I bet it's on the Wayback Machine, but anyway, check it out.
It's not the same.
When you're pretending to work this Monday morning, Try to find a good old snippet of time cube.
No, but I mean, has the wisest human given up, or is it just? I mean, has the voice of the internet kind of drowned him out? Like, why stop?
Well, it's a damnable lie. That's what it is. Damnable.
He uses such interesting words.
Interesting word choice. Interestinger thought choice.
And so I kind of wonder, like, on a daily basis, a person who writes that kind of thing does not have a normal day. All right? You wake up, and the first thing you're probably thinking about is, ooh, all those people educated stupid. I mean, look, have you ever met any conspiracy theorists, like serious conspiracy theorists? Have you met these people? Mr. B? Who's the last serious conspiracy theorist?
God, I mean, there used to be those people who would knock on your door on Saturday.
Okay, so you've never actually...
Wait. Yes, actually, at a bar recently, I met a real conspiracy theorist.
What did they believe?
They had some theory about chemtrails. Like they actually bought into some pretty standard. Okay, but I mean,
were they
chemtrails and stuff in the water? And...
I give two categories of conspiracy theorists. They're the believers and they're the spreaders, if you will.
He might have been a spreader. He didn't seem like there was much going on. He was a repeater.
Okay, no,
yeah.
but
yeah, for sure.
For me, a spreader is like someone who brought it up. First of all, who brought up the subject matter?
Oh, he did. He's a spreader. Yeah.
So he was trying to convince you something?
Yeah, he was just like pretending to make conversation, and then within 30 seconds, he was on this whole jibba jabba.
Did you try to explain to him the physics of chemtrails?
No, it was too entertaining just to hear how far he'd go. And he sort of exhausted himself, and that was that.
Because I'd be like, you realize the chemtrails would be the most expensive, useless social experiment that could ever be done on a global scale, right? You're like, because if you have any chemicals in fuel, you have less fuel.
Well, you know what this TimeCube Mirror site thinks? Mm-hmm. Thinks that you are taught evil, you act evil, you are the evil on earth. Only your comprehending the divinity of cube creation will your soul be saved from your created hell on earth, induced by your ignoring the existing four-corner harmonic simultaneous 4 days rotating in a single cycle of the earth sphere. Religious/academic pedants cannot allow 4 days that contradict one day, one God. Educators destroy your brain, but you don't know, so why care? That's deep. It's pretty deep. You know what? Maybe what we should do is memorize a couple little passages, nothing too heavy, and the next time we meet a real conspiracy nut, we up the ante.
Right. Did you know there were 4 simultaneous?
Hey, since TimeCube is basically bust, do you think we can print out our own little book and fucking hawk that?
Okay, but
do you think the internet would buy a couple of those? That sounds
wait.
weird.
I just want to ask a question. I mean, I know there's no answer, but I got to ask this question because the guy's like, there's 4 simultaneous Earth days.
Yeah,
which
I can answer this.
Which there isn't. But in his mind, does he think, like, for instance, that it would be sunny in Japan at the same time that it would be sunny in America? Like, what does he mean by simultaneous?
Well, he has a few diagrams on the site, and this one states that Earth has 4 days simultaneously each rotation. You erroneously measure time from one corner, so there's a 4/16 cube divinity, which states that there's...
But we already know this
midday,
kind of part. I'm just saying...
Midday, sundown, midnight, and sun up.
I'm just saying there is only one... Like, you can only be in an area where there's a sun up or sundown once, unless you're constantly moving or something. Like, I'm just... What does he think happens in these 4 days?
You know, actually, there's a truth note at the bottom of this diagram. Truth note, Earth has 1 day, even if it stood still, and 4 days in one rotation. $1,000 to anyone who can disprove the harmonic cube. It's signed Gene Ray.
Okay, but...
And his title, Cubic.
Okay, but...
Gene Ray, Cubic.
How does that sentence where he says there's 1 day, but 4... simultaneous days.
I don't think I'm getting through to you.
I'm like trying to do the math here.
Dr. Gene Ray is the greatest philosopher and the greatest mathematician. You know, there's an old website, the
What's this?
wisesthuman.com. Is it still now? 404.
Fucking hell.
Fucking hell.
Did he run out of money?
I don't know.
Maybe he's dead.
Okay, 96-hour cube day debunks one day unnatural God. 96-hour cube day debunks one day as witchcraft. 96-hour day will disprove disunity God. Academians are teaching pseudoscience.
So he wants a day to be 96 hours?
Wow, it is 96 hours. I'm not getting through to you. There's 4 time corners.
Okay.
You're living in 4/16th time, okay?
But is he saying that like every sunset is worth like 4 sunsets?
Cubic wisdom has allowed me to create 4. I'm speaking as Jean Ray, of course. Has allowed me to create 4 simultaneous days within a single Earth rotation. Americans do not deserve life. They live only for today. Today, the evil singularity word bastards. Dog brain students. Singularity, in air quotes, education inflicts a dog brain upon students. Ability to be taught servitude, but an inability to ever think opposite of brainwashing and indoctrination. Very unlikely to ever recover. To acknowledge nature's harmonic, simultaneous, rotating, 4-corner, 24-hour days in one Earth rotation. Dr. Jean Ray, cubic and wise above God.
Wise above God.
It just flows so naturally.
You know, it's interesting because
if someone recorded a song,
Dr. Jean Ray,
cubic and wise above God.
It's interesting because almost everything about his speech, if it was given a sort of like less, a slightly more religious word usage, like for instance, if he. It sounds basically like a sermon using really bad math. Do you know what I mean? Like, just there's nothing about his 4 days in one day that makes any sense whatsoever.
Well, Earth is composed of opposite hemispheres which rotate in opposite directions, equal to a zero-value existence, plus and minus.
So he thinks that the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere rotate in different directions?
Well, as entity, the opposite hemispheres cancel out. Earth exists as 4-90-degree opposite corner quadrants, but not as a 360-degree circle. Earth is cubic opposites, nothing as circle. A singularity-inflicted scholar has not the mentality, freedom, or guts to know that academia is a Trojan horse mind control. Singularity brotherhood owns your brain, destroying your ability to think cubism. Evil academia blocks out time cube's sight and suppresses its discussion and debate.
So maybe what somebody needs to do is make the anti-time cube, which argues that cubism is dog brain, and that singularity is the only way to think. Right? How would Dr. Jean Ray freak out? Or is he even alive? Like, if his sights seem to be down. Like, what have we lost here? Actually, okay, so I think the time cube resembles, although I don't know if I would call it exactly a religion, but it's very, very similar to one. So the question is, does it have followers? Are there time cubists?
Oh, it's a good question.
Does anybody fucking believe what he said?
It's answered about a kilometer down the site in the red narrow text. Scientists know time cube, but any scientist supporting the 4 simultaneous days in a single rotation of Earth will be fired and banned for life from academic institutions. Scientists are evil cowards and should be castrated for obstructionism of the 4 simultaneous days within a single rotation of Earth.
He's really very adamant about the importance of this 4 days in one day shit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Does he think that if we do that, we'll have like 3 more days, like every day?
Well, he's very clear about 4-day math condemns 1-day fools.
Because here's the deal. You can define a day, okay, as being like 6 hours, and then you just be like, that day is over, and you decide that there's, I don't know, like 1,200 days in the year, but it doesn't mean it's a full day.
Yeah, so that's Time Cube, folks. Check it out.
I think you should check it out. It's one of those internet treasures that's been around for a long time. It's kind of like ZomboCon.
Yeah, let's try to dig up a few treasures in some of the next episodes.
Yeah.
If the Monday mood strikes us,
I guess so. But kind of like getting back to why are we doing this podcast is I feel bad for all you,
suckers
out there.
We're still on Sunday, idiots.
Yeah, but we're gonna have our Monday too, though. So I guess we're just gonna be listening to ourselves on Monday as well. Just being like, oh man. Gotta go to work. Well, there's this show to look forward to, and the good news is that if you like the show, I mean, it's going to be up every Monday for the next year, except for on holidays. We're gonna not. I mean, does Christmas fall on Monday this year? Because we're not doing it.
Yeah, you're very religious about your birth of Christ celebration.
The day of Christ is not a day that I should work.
Some things are sacred,
Yeah,
even to atheists.
You know what it is? I have to fucking put up with Christian people all year. I'm going to take their day off too, okay? It's the birthplace of the most annoying fucking name in the history of names, with probably the exception of Muhammad. Like, these two fucking characters that I have to put up with. Yeah. I should take Ramadan too. I'm going to take it. Because, like, Muslim people are annoying the shit out of me with their fucking religion. So I'm going to take all their goddamn holidays. I'm taking Rosh Hashanah. I'm taking fucking Ramadan.
But
I'm taking Christmas.
You know what? The Zoroastrians are all right by me, honestly.
There's 120,000. Of course they're all right.
Yeah.
You could round them up and, like, eliminate them in, like, an afternoon. They're nothing. Okay? There are more people who probably believe in Jedis right now than believe in Zoroaster and his teachings, right?
He's all right.
And the god Ahura Mazda. I mean, you have a car named after their god. I mean, that's blasphemy. How come they're not fucking suing, man?
It's a celebration.
I would sue. I'd be like, your car is blasphemy. It is the name of my fucking god. And you have blasphemed. But here's an interesting side note. You want to know why Zoroastrianism got fucked in the ass? Huh? Historically.
Historically, okay.
Yeah, historically it got fucked in the ass. So back in the day when Xerxes was like the fucking, or the man, Zoroastrianism was all the shit. But then after a little while, you get a bunch of corrupt rulers, and like whenever you're the big dog, I don't know, eventually somebody tries to bring you down. So by the time there's this king called Darius III, who's this fucking weak piece of shit leader who can't get nothing done, he gets into a fight, if you will, with the guy from that history would later call Alexander the Great. So in just a matter of a few fucking like years, this Macedonian fucking crazy dude just kicks the shit out of basically what is the largest empire that owns like 80% of all the gold in the old world. They had all the fucking gold! Okay? So they were the richest empire, and they got their fucking ass kicked by a bunch of crazy Macedonian Greeks who go ahead and burn almost all of their holy books and kill all their fucking priests. And there you go. That's what happened to Zoroastrianism. They got fucked in the ass by a goddamn Greek. What a surprise.
Oh boy. On that note, happy Monday, everybody. Could be worse. Just remember, it could be worse.
There's a little bit of dirty history.
Could be worse. Ouch.
And now there's 120,000 of them, and they're all living in fucking Iran, probably fearing for their lives because they're, hated because they're not Muslim. Yeah, so good luck out there. I feel for you.
There's always 4-day time cubism.
I love their logo, though.
Yeah, they have some pretty sweet graphics.
They do, man.
Yeah.
One of the first fucking
pretty
logos.
Sweet icons.
One of the first logos ever created. I dare you to find a religion that has an older logo than Zoroastrianism. I fucking dare you. The only one that I can think about is probably Egyptian, like, animism and their, like the Ankh or something like that, I guess. But even that wasn't really worn as a fucking symbol. So, no, Zoroastrianism, I'm going to call them. If any of you out there are history buffs, prove me wrong, bitches. Prove me wrong. I love saying that to the internet. Prove me wrong. Because there's some fucking asshole's got nothing but time on his hand. He's like, oh, you goddamn asshole.
I'll send you a research paper.
Maybe that's it about the internet. There will, you know how like in the world there will always be someone smarter? Well, there will always be someone who will put in so much fucking time to prove someone wrong because they just hate themselves.
Yep, ran out of Cheetos.
They ran out of fucking Cheetos.
There you go.
and their dick is as orange as a goddamn box of Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday. It's going to be a great week. Now, before we go, I just want to remind everybody, by the time you're listening to this, there's going to be a link to a Patreon campaign that we're starting. You don't have to go in there yet, because we're going to bother you with it every goddamn Monday. But this is our campaign to try to get people to be supportive of the videos that we want to create. So the podcast is free, but if you guys want to see some more shit and you like the kind of things that we're doing, then go to our Patreon page. We're asking for people to support like $1 a month. Like, this is not much, okay, folks?
And what's on the video? Is it more crass bullshit?
Our videos are going to be a little bit tighter, but they're going to be things that we consider sketchy. Look, this is a podcast called Sketchy, okay? We're all about things that are a little bit sketchy, so the shows are going to be about that. You know, they could be about anything from Vatican Bank and that sketchy shit, Panama Papers and that sketchy goddamn bullshit. Anything we want. Anything we want, but it's going to definitely be better research than these fucking piece of shit throwaway freebies.
Hey guys.
You know, I gotta be honest with you. I don't like this. I don't like doing this, but I'm going to do it anyways because I feel like every other fucking YouTube podcasting asshole out there. The only difference being is that I've done this probably longer than other people, and now I'm just going to force myself to do it again. Because I like the sound of my own voice. Fuck you, you know? If you like it, you like it. You're going to be on board. And if you don't, you know what? We're never, ever going to beg for your goddamn, like, hit the subscribe button, please. Nope. You don't like it? That's good. We don't want you. We don't want you. We only want the ones that like it. Get the fuck out of here. You humorless bastard. Anyways, everybody's got to go to work now, so, you know, the ride's over. It's time to get serious, folks. Time to go to work. You feeling good about that?
We're still on Sunday time, suckers.
All right, well, I'm going to go have a beer. So with that, my name is Jacob14.
I'm Mr. B.
All right. See you in hell, everybody.